Welcome back to Open Minds at Creative Alliance with Miss Jasmine. Hope you guys are doing amazing. Okay, so for today's project, we're going to be doing sculptures. And what better way to celebrate spring than doing sculptures of butterflies? Okay, so we're going to be doing butterfly sculptures with our air dry clay. Or if you don't want to do a butterfly, you can do a bird or do whatever you want. Honestly, just make sure it's something that represents spring. Okay. I'm going to do a butterfly. I love butterflies, so I'm going to do that. So your materials today, you're going to need your air dry clay, of course, okay? You're going to need your sculpting tools. I'm not 100% positive if those were in the bag, but if they were not, please go to Michael's or the dollar store or Plaza art supply store to get your sculpting tools or your clay tools, okay? You're gonna need these to sculpt, all right? You're gonna need some paint. We're gonna be painting these. We're gonna make them look pretty, all right? You're gonna need your paint brushes and your water, okay? And a cup with your water in it. You're gonna need your palette. My palette is right here, all right? And you can also have your sketchbook in hand for the beginning of the project, okay? Sketchbook. You're gonna need some glue, so you can use Elmer's glue or tacky glue. I'm gonna be using hot glue, okay? And that's to glue the objects we want, the decorations we want on the sculpture. So I have my beads over here, okay? I have some eyeballs here, okay? Well, I have one. I don't know where the other one went. And my other tools here. So we can use these to create little antennas if you want, little eyes, put cute little things on the butterfly, okay? Or your bird, whatever you're sculpting. You can use watercolor if you want, if you don't want to use the acrylic paint, all right? And make sure you have some napkins in hand, all right? And that's it. You can add construction paper too if you want. It's up to you. Whatever you want to do to make it look pretty, all right? So let's just get started. If you want to sketch your ideas, you can, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and sketch mine real quick. I'm just going to do like an outline so I can get a clear understanding of what I'm drawing here. Just so I won't mess up, you know. And it can be really quick. And I'm done. That's really all you need. So it's a quick sketch, okay? Sorry, it's a little dark. I just drew one sketch. So that's my butterfly right there. So that's gonna help me pretty much outline the clay, all right? So what we wanna do is, I already took my clay out, all right? But you guys basically open it up, okay? So with air dry clay, it's self-explanatory. You just leave it out in the air and it dries, okay? If you add water to it, which some people do, it's gonna take longer to dry. If you want to work on it the next day, then you would add water to it, okay? And you would put it in a plastic bag with the water in it, or put water on it, put it in a plastic bag to make sure the water doesn't escape from it and it's still soft the next day. So if you want to keep working on it the next day, you put water on it, make sure it's so it can still be wet. If you're done your project in one day or right after this lesson is over, you just let it sit out and dry. Pretty simple, okay? And make sure you put your lids back on when you're done. If you don't put your lid back on, the clay is going to dry, okay? So this container pretty much protects it. So if you want to work on your project for like a week or something, you can put water on it, put it in a plastic bag, and put it in this container, all right? If you want to protect it and, you know, make sure it doesn't dry out, okay? But if you want it to dry, leave it outside the container, leave it out, leave it on the table, okay? So it can harden. All right, so I already took my clay out. I took this much out. I'm gonna lift it up and show you. Okay, I took this much out. Take as much out as you want. I have 2 containers of this, so I took out a nice chunk of, a nice amount of clay. If you want to make miniature ones, you can. So you can cut this in half and make miniature ones. If you want to make one this size, you can, okay? So, what you want to do is, you want to take your clay and then lay it on your surface. So I'm going to lay mine on my paper plate, all right? Then I'm going to grab this tool, okay? So we have a couple of tools here. I use this to cut the clay. This end is to smooth the clay, okay? It's like a butter knife. It's like a smoothing end, all right? And then we have this. You can make holes with this one. And this is another one to cut and shape the edges. This can make sharp edges here. Here's one to make like holes, small holes. It's like a ball at the end. Here's another sharp edge one. And then this one can be used to make holes or cylinders or circles. Okay, see? And it's also, I also use this to roll out my clay, okay? So that's the next step. We just went through the clay tools, the sculpting tools. So grab this tool here if you have it, okay? If not, just use your hands, but this was really helpful, or use something smooth, okay? And roll out your clay. So I already did mine. So I put the clay down, and basically this is gonna smooth it out. So I'm just gonna keep doing it like this. Sorry, let me move this, I'm sorry. So as you can see, I'm just rolling the clay out, okay? So just roll it, all right? Just like this. This is gonna smooth the top, okay? And then I'm gonna flip it over, and I'm gonna do the same to the bottom. I just wanna make sure it's somewhat even, all right? And then once it's smooth, how smooth you want it to be, then you can just start sketching into the clay if you want. There's a couple of ways, 2 ways you can really do this. All right, I think I'm good here. And the reason I have it on the plate is so it won't stick to the table, all right? So like I said, you can use a paper plate, one of the paper plates that we gave you guys. You can use a piece of paper, or you can use wax paper, okay? So I'm going to use a pencil, so grab your pencil, and I'm gonna look at my sketch, okay? And I'm gonna sketch my butterfly into the clay, okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead and start drawing it. And actually, let's start over, I'm sorry. I'm gonna find the center of this circle, okay? So center, just so I can make sure it's even. Find the center of your clay. Okay. Don't press too hard. If you press too hard, it's going to cut the clay in half. That's not what we want. We just want to lightly etch a middle line into the clay. Okay. I'm going to smooth that out when I'm done. That's just to help me find the middle of the clay. Don't press too hard when you're sketching or you're cutting. If you want to cut with the tool first, you can, but I want to use the pencil. So don't dig too hard in the clay, or else it's just going to break it. This is just a light sketch. Okay. All right, that's the body part. So I have the center of the butterfly, okay? You guys can see that. All right. Sort of like a carrot shape. And then I'm going to draw the wings. So the wings are just 2 half circles pretty much. Go up and around. And if you need to, you can just look at a picture if you don't want to sketch it. Look at a picture of the butterfly you want to draw. Create. It can be a monarch butterfly, whatever type of butterfly you want. Monarchs are one of my favorites. They're orange. Very, very pretty. Or you can make up your own colors, okay? Use some type of butterfly you made up. It can be a colorful butterfly, a rainbow butterfly, whatever you want it to be, all right? All right, so my sketch is in there. So, I'm sorry, you guys. I don't have my ring light today. I sincerely apologize. There's my sketch. So it's two half circles on each side and the carrot shape in the middle for the body. Okay. And here we're etching right now. It's pretty much etching. Once we're done, we're going to do add-ons onto it. So right now we're sculpting the clay. In a second, we're going to add clay to it. Okay. I'm going to add like some eyeballs to make the eyeballs pop out, and then I'm going to add some like antennas for him or her, whatever. Okay, so here's where we get one of the cutting tools. Any of these will work. I'm going to use the butter knife to cut out the shape of the butterfly, okay? Okay, so I'm going to cut out the edges, okay? So just the outside. Do not cut the body out. I'm actually going to smooth the body over a little bit so it won't fall apart. Okay. And just start digging that outside clay away. Now you guys, once you finish like etching everything, you can start painting it, and put your extra clay in your bucket. Okay, don't waste your clay. You can use that for another project. Like I was saying, you guys can go ahead and once you're done doing this, you can paint on the clay if you want. I might do that just so I can show you guys because I am teaching. But I would recommend that you let the clay dry overnight and then paint it, okay? Because the clay is still like wet, kind of. So if we were in the classroom, I would have this be a 2 or 3 day project. You guys would sculpt the first class. You wouldn't use any type of color or paint. You would just sculpt your object or your butterfly or bird, and then the second and third day I would have you paint it, okay? So that's what I'm recommending you guys do for this. Let your clay and your sculpture sit out overnight and then paint it the next day, okay? I'm going to go ahead and paint mine real quick. Just to show you guys what I would like you guys to do. Just go around, keep doing the edges of your sculpture. Okay. So I have half of mine done. There we go. Just sculpt the edges out, okay? So let's see here. Just follow whatever you drew in that clay and lay it flat so it's easier to cut, okay? And almost there. And if you don't want to do a butterfly or bird, like I said, do whatever you feel represents spring. Whatever represents spring to you. Like I said, for me, it's butterflies. You can do a sun if you want. Or maybe you want to do another animal. Okay. Okay. Alright, almost done. And I'm done. Alright, I'm done removing the clay. So we subtracted some of that clay out. Alright, and there's the shape of my butterfly. It's a little quirky, but yeah. I'm going to fix that at the top of the head a little bit. And you can take your fingers and smooth stuff over if you want, or you, like I said, you can take, so this is the top, it's the butter knife end. This is the smoothing end right here, okay? It's like curved, it smooths up the edges and everything. So if you want to use that, you can. Do you also have like the professional, sculpting tools where you can tear away the clay? You can find that at Michael's or any art supply store. Okay. So like I said, you can look up a picture of a butterfly that you want to copy and sculpt it from there if you want. Okay. Mine's not perfectly even, but it's gonna be this way. Okay, so I smoothed out the lines that I drew for the middle of the body, just so they could go away, and also so my sculpture won't fall apart, all right? And there we go. Okay. All right, so here's where we're gonna add. We subtracted now clay, now we're gonna add clay. I'm gonna do, let's see here. Actually, I'm going to subtract some more clay. I'm gonna do circles in the middle, of the wings. So I'm gonna do one up top. Well, I'm gonna make indentations, I'm sorry. One in the bottom. I'm not removing anything, I'm just making indentations, making lines in this. One right here. And one right here in the bottom, okay? So, here's a line. There we go. And I use this tool to do that, okay? Real quick and easy. And then, now I'm gonna add some eyes. So you can do, I'm gonna draw my eyes on, or you can use, I don't know if everybody got eyes, but you can get these from like the dollar store. They're little eyeballs you can glue on. Or you can get it from Amazon. You can also get all this stuff from Amazon too, okay? If you don't have some of the things. So I'm gonna make mine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna roll them into a ball with the palm of my hands, okay? I got a little piece of clay, okay? And I'm gonna roll it like this. It's gonna make a circle. Well, it's gonna make a ball, okay? And that's too big. So we're just gonna fix this real quick. Stuff is not always right on your first try. Sometimes you gotta do it a couple of times, okay? So let's do this one. There we go. You only need a little bit because the top of the head's tiny, so I'm just gonna stick this here. Then roll this side. All right. So I stuck mine. So in order for that to dry, okay, well, in order for that to stick, I'm sorry, it's gonna have to dry. It might fall off while I'm holding it up. But there goes my eyes at the top, all right? That's gonna have to dry. It's actually gonna fall off if I don't let it dry, okay? But it's sticking right now. All right, so here's where you can just start painting now. All right, I have everything pretty much mapped out. After I'm done painting, I'm gonna stick like some beads on there and decorate it with stuff, make it look cool. All right, and you can look up examples on YouTube and Google if you want. I'm gonna go ahead and just start painting mine. I want you guys to wait till yours dries and then do it, and then paint, all right? So I'm gonna grab my paintbrushes. I'm gonna clean this off. Guys, remember to make sure your paintbrush is dry before you dip it in multiple colors, else it's gonna be muddy. And wipe it off on your, clean it with the water and wipe it off on the paper towel, okay? So I'm gonna paint mine orange, just like I did with my other project. Alright. And I'm just gonna do like a rough here, so you guys won't like watch me paint. I'm going to paint everything but the circles in the wings, okay? And I'm just doing orange right now. You guys should make yours look colorful though, like I said. Another thing with these brushes, if we're using these skinny brushes, sometimes the hair does come off. You can just use tweezers to get them out of the clay. Alright. And you guys should paint your entire butterfly or bird. I'm just going to paint the top of mine right now. And you're going to have to add probably multiple layers just if you want it to get thick and you don't want the clay to show through, the color of the clay. So you want to let this layer dry, of orange dry, then add another layer of orange. And if you feel like it's still too thin, add a third layer, okay? Just so it can be thick and the brown, the tan color of the clay won't show through. Alright, so here's my base color. Alright, sorry, here's my base color. Okay. And I'm gonna do, what should I do, guys? I guess I'm gonna do red. Well, this is candy apple red. And guys, this paint kind of goes a long way, so don't put out too much. All right. So yeah, I'm basically just making mine up, making my butterfly up as I go. Whatever colors I want to add, I'm just going to add them in here. And then, so this is the flat brush, okay? It's flat. You see that? Flat and square. If you want to make like polka dots or something, you're gonna need a round brush. So something like this, okay, which was in the watercolor kit we provided. something like that, or maybe an even rounder brush, okay? If you want to make lines, you want to use the flat brush, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and just make some cool lines here on mine. Just paint whatever you want there. You can even paint a skyline if you want. I don't know, a sunset or something on the butterfly. A landscape, you can paint a face on there. Whatever you think looks cool. And you can also blend the colors. But like I taught you, make sure if you're gonna blend the color, they have to be wet, okay? Don't forget. You can't let them dry if you wanna blend them. I'm gonna grab black for the eyeballs. Okay, so here's what I got so far. Okay. Alright, paint the eyeballs black. Don't put too much paint out. Like I said, this paint pretty much goes a long way. You don't want to be wasting paint. And you can do this with your family. You guys can make a whole bunch. Alright, and my eyeballs are painted. Make sure you get all the nooks and crannies, because I'm missing some here. All right. You guys should add more colors than me. Wipe my brush off. So with air dry clay, you just leave it out in the air, okay? Now, when you get to like high school and college, you're going to be using, you know, the real clay. You have to put that in the kettle and everything, let it dry. I'm just going to add some colors, some cool colors. I'm just going to start adding random designs in here. You can add zigzags, you can add straight lines, okay? I'm just adding random yellow in here, dots. Okay, and then I'm gonna add some teal. Well, blue, I'm sorry, and teal. Okay. So when you're painting on these, try to make sure that you put the light color down first, okay? With this paint on top of the clay, if you paint the dark color first, it's going to be a little difficult for, if you try to put a light color on top of it, it's going to be a little difficult for it to show through, okay? This doesn't have to look realistic either. Like I said, I'm just making up a random butterfly. Alright, I think I'm done with mine. I'm gonna add some white here for like the eyeballs. And then I'm gonna add some beads to it. Okay. Only a little bit of white. Alright, I think I'm done. So I'm gonna go in and add some beads here. So let me show you what I got so far. This is before I add the beads and stuff. Okay, and this is still wet, so it's not dry yet. Okay. So let me go ahead and just glue some beads on here. I don't have a strategy or anything. I'm just gonna randomly glue beads. I'm using a hot glue gun. If you decide to use a hot glue gun, please have your parent around, okay? Or just use Elmer's glue or tacky glue, okay? I'm using hot glue because mine tacky glue dried up. Okay, so let's let that warm up for a little bit. I'm gonna go in and add some more dots while that warms up. All right. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and add some antennas here. So I'm gonna cut this on pipe cleaner. You can cut it this small. And then measure it to the same length, okay? I'm gonna make mine like this length. You can add them, you can make them whatever length you want, all right? And I'm gonna stick this in the clay because it's a wire in here, so just stick it in there. And you can bend these, okay? So, there we go. And there we go. So I went ahead and stuck my beads in the clay. Mine is still wet, as you all know. You guys can do that if you want, or you can just wait till it dries and glue them on there, okay? It's up to you. All right, so my beads have been stuck in the clay, the butterfly. So you can stick the beads in the wet clay, or if you want, you can let the clay dry and then glue the beads to the sculpture, okay? It's up to you. All right, so I just stuck mine in there. And I think I'm gonna end right there, okay? So here's my butterfly. I know y'all's are gonna look way better than mine though. So that's my butterfly, and as you see, I stuck the main antennas up here, okay? All right, and you guys can paint the back too. I didn't paint my back. Make sure you carve your name in the back also of your butterfly. So that's it for today's lesson. That was the butterfly sculpture tutorial. Please send me pictures, okay, of your work, and make them beautiful, be creative, and have fun with the project as usual. I'll see you guys next class. Bye.